Can you beat Minecraft without killing anyone? Now before you jump into the comment section saying, dude, there is literally an ender dragon at the end you have to kill. What are you talking about? Let me tell you what I mean exactly. If you are aiming for a true pacifist run, where your goal is to prevent the death of each mob, I have to disappoint you because as far as I know it's not possible. Sadly, that pesky dragon isn't willing to disappear even in peaceful mode. But that doesn't mean we can try to be tricky and get something similar done. There are two things we can do here. First, let's see if we can beat Minecraft without the game statistics showing any kills. In the Minecraft statistics you can see each and every kill you did and each death you had caused by mobs. Second, let's see if we can beat Minecraft without we ourselves killing any mobs. This means that each kill needs to be done by other mobs. Now before jumping into the topic, please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video and want to see more stuff like this. Let's start our investigation in the end, as that's the first thing that makes the theory debatable. In order to beat the game, you have to jump into this fountain below me, that's when the end credits roll. The fountain's portal, however, won't be active till the ender dragon is killed, which makes the situation a little bit tricky. In order to even kill the dragon, you need to destroy 10 end crystals, each of which are located at the top of the obsidian pillars. Technically, it is possible to kill the dragon without destroying these, but let's just roll with the safest option. When you're destroying the crystals, either with shooting them with an arrow or just punching them, you need to be careful not to kill yourself or the dragon. Unfortunately, exploding the crystal and killing the dragon in the process counts as killing it. You even get the achievement for it. There are a couple methods which we can try to fulfill the requirements for our goals. The first thing that might come to mind is killing the dragon with a bed, as most of the speedrunners use this technique to be as fast as possible. The purpose of beds is to sleep through the night. However, in the nether and in the end, there is no such thing as day or night, so whenever you would try to sleep on it, it would just explode, dealing insane amounts of damage. Luckily, you can nullify the damage it would deal to you and survive by placing a block between you and the bed. And due to the fact that originally this wasn't meant to be used as a weapon, if the ender dragon is killed by a bed explosion, it won't consider it getting killed by anyone. So technically, it is a way to kill it without actually killing it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Now you might be wondering, it's nice and all, but don't you need to kill mobs in order to get the materials for the beds? You could, but it's not necessary at all. The materials for the bed are 3 wools and 3 planks. There are a surprisingly great amount of methods which you can obtain the materials for it. The easiest one is shearing the sheep. This way you don't have to kill them, but you can also craft wool by using string. And even though it's a mob drop, you can find it for example in mineshafts or in desert temples. And of course, if you don't care about the villagers, you can just steal a couple beds from them in one of the villages and then make them sad. I tried a couple more methods of getting rid of the ender dragon, just in case you'd be dissatisfied with the bed method. One of them was blowing it up with dispensed TNT, which actually turned out to be a success. You need to place the dispenser really high up though, so the dragon won't destroy it, and also make it automatic by wiring it up to redstone clock. I also tried to make other mobs kill the dragon, but apparently they do no damage to it despite attacking it. So I guess that's it for the end. We managed to avoid the statistics showing the kill, and the magical bed explosions did the dirty job instead of us, so no blood is on our hands yet. Before getting into how to actually reach the end, let's look at some things that are not essential to beating the game, but increases our chances of surviving. Cause I mean, you can try rushing through the game with an empty inventory, but I'm sure it will be extra painful when a random skeleton that you can't even hit 2-shot kills your armorless body and ruins your whole attempt. The first thing that we need to talk about is food. Honestly, it's not even the fact that you need to heal what makes it important to have some food on you, but if you don't want to know what it feels like to complete the game as a snail, you'll have to keep that hunger bar above 30%. Despite killing animals for meat might seem to be the most obvious way of solving this issue, there are plenty of peaceful ways that will help us keeping our stomach full. Honestly, the easiest method is to once again search a village and steal everything you find. Most of the time the food you get there is more than enough to beat the game. But if you want to overkill it and make sure you're always full, you can even start farming potatoes or carrots and such, and buying a couple golden carrots or even crafting some might seem like a good idea, since it's one of the best food sources in the game when it comes to surviving. The other thing is tools and armor. Now, weirdly enough, this isn't even necessary to beat the game. If you really want, you can punch your way to the end. But once again, we don't want to spend years beating the game, so let's try to use everything we can. Making basic tools can be as easy as punching down a tree, then using the wood to create everything we can, but it's also possible to make them out of stone and iron without having to even go underground. Going for diamond tools and armor might be risky though. Even in normal circumstances, when you're allowed to kill the mobs, it's hard to survive down there, but the fact that you can't even fight back makes it almost impossible. Luckily for us, all our problems can be solved by villager trading. If you find a villager with armorer or blacksmith profession, you can pretty much buy every single diamond tool and armor you need. A good side effect of the pacifist run is that we don't have to worry about getting any swords. Bows are also not recommended because if you're as good in aiming as me, you'd probably end up hitting the dragon more than the crystals. Now that we are prepared to survive for as long as possible, let's see what we need to enter the end. In every Minecraft world there is an end portal that can take us to the end dimension, but in order to open it, we need to place up to 12 Eyes of Ender into the portal frame. We also need these Eyes of Ender to find the Stronghold, that is the structure in which the portal is located. Now, this is where the problem begins, because the only way to get these is to combine one Ender Pearl and one Blaze Powder. Sadly, both of them are mob drops, which you can get from killing Endermen and Blazes respectively. They both can be commonly found in the Nether, but how do we even get there in the first place? Well, we need to create a different type of portal, made out of obsidian, and then light it up with flint and steel. Getting obsidian could be considered problematic, since in order to mine it, you need a diamond pickaxe, but as I mentioned earlier, you can buy those from toolsmiths, or you can even get some from villages or from ruined portal chests. The easiest method requires only a single water bucket and a lava pool though. I'll try to show real quick in case you haven't seen how to do it yet. Now, let's focus on getting Underpersed first, because thanks to the Nether update, we can get those fairly quickly if RNG is generous to us. In 1.16, piglins were added who are attracted to gold so much that if you mine any near them or if you aren't wearing any gold armor, they'll attack you immediately. But at the same time, you can give them gold ingots and get all sorts of items, including ender pearls and fire resistance potion, which we'll get back to in a second. If you're going to shoot down the end crystal with arrows, this is probably the perfect opportunity to get them as well, since it's easy to get a couple stacks from them while trying to get the 16 or so ender pearls. You might need a stack or two of gold ingots to get what you want, but thankfully you can find plenty in the nether. Another option would be to try killing enderman in an indirect way, but the drop chance for the ender pearl is so low it wouldn't really be worth finding a way for it. In theory, all we have left to do is get the blaze powders, which we can get after breaking down the blaze rods we get from blazes. They can only spawn in fortresses, which can be rough to find, but once you are there, you can either find them naturally or around blaze spawners. Normally, we could set up a dispenser to dispense arrows or snowballs at them. Yes, that actually damages them, which I found entertaining. But the issue is, they only ever drop any blaze rods if a player or a tamed wolf kills it. It's probably obvious where I'm going to go with this now. We need to get a good amount of wolves, around 20, so they can kill the blazes fairly quickly. The way tamed wolves work is that if they aren't sitting, they will attack any mob that gets either attacked by the player who tamed them, or if a mob attacks the player or the wolf. So we basically need to get damaged by a blaze, and then the wolf army will kill it for us. But how do we get the wolves, let alone bring them into the fortress? We can tame wolves just like cats, and once we did that, we can also breed them to get more of them, which is probably faster than actually trying to get 20 or so wolves. We need bones to tame them, and any type of meat to breed them, which in this case is going to be rotten flesh. We can obtain both of them in desert chests, or if you're lucky and find some mineshafts, you might find some in those chests as well. But staying up during the whole night and waiting for the skeletons and zombies to burn and drop their loot is an option as well, though whichever is more suitable for you. Now, the strategy I think the best for getting the wolves into the fortress and basically next to the spawner is the following. You need to make sure the spawn area is out in the open. You can probably do it with the one that's buried into the blocks, but it will be rough to survive the blaze's contact damage. You'll need to light up the whole place for now so no blazes can spawn. Sadly, 2 or 3 blazes will spawn guaranteed before you could start placing torches, so you'll need those fire resistance potions the piglins probably gave you a lot of to prevent them from damaging you with their fireball attack. After you are done, you need to move like 40 blocks away and wait for them to despawn. Then you can go back, block off the area, and also place a ceiling for the spawn area so they won't fly away when the dogs will try to attack them. Build a portal in that closed off area, you can get obsidian as well from the piglins, and go to the overworld. And this is where the fun begins, because you need to find at least 2 wolves, which honestly might take some time. But once you've found them, you can bring them back to the portal and bring them into the nether. There you can finally start breeding them until you get a decent amount. Then, before removing the torches, give your dogs fire resistance potion as well, which can be done by throwing a splash potion on them. Honestly, technically this isn't necessary, but I'm sure a lot of you would get angry at me in the comments for letting wolves die, so we'll do it in the kind way and let them live for another day. Now, this method obviously works for letting other things kill the mobs for us, but can we actually trick the statistics like this? Let's see. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect this to work the first time I realized that blazes don't drop blaze rods just by dying. And the statistics doesn't even care whether you hit them or if you get hit, but for the sake of neutrality, I'll still stick to the option of getting hit over hitting any mobs. So, let's summarize it. In order to beat the game the pacifist way, without the statistics showing any kills or without we actually killing anyone, we need to gather some resources and beds in the overworld through minimal surface mining and villager trading. Then we create the nether portal, jump into the nether, where we start collecting gold and then barter with piglins for ender pearls, arrows, potions, and obsidian. Then we can find a fortress and a blaze spawner in there. Make it spawn proof, then build another portal so we can get some wolves from the overworld to kill the blazes for us. Then make 12 to 16 ender eyes, find the stronghold, the portal, place the eyes in, then enter the end, destroy the crystals, and then blow up the dragon with beds. I know what you're thinking. It sounds nice and all on paper, but how hard is it to actually do this in practice? Well, it definitely depends on the difficulty of the game, but I feel like it's completely doable in all cases. Some parts might be time consuming though, depending on your luck. So, that's it, I guess. Maybe there is one more question to answer. Will I actually do this challenge? Not gonna lie, originally I didn't plan to do it, but by the time I got to the end of the script, I changed my mind. So if you're interested in it, well, hit the subscribe button, but also, once it's out, the link for it will be in the end card and in the description, so make sure to check it out. We managed to avoid the We managed to avoid the Jesus. We managed to avoid the statistics. We managed to avoid the We managed to avoid the statistics showing the kill and the magical bad